This episode, the low price fallacy. Well, have you ever purchased a low priced item only to find out that you end up spending more money making it right than buying the higher end product? Well, Johnny and I are going to have a discussion.
Welcome to the Handyman Pros Radio Show, home improvement and maintenance tips from the pros.
Thanks for listening to another edition of the Handyman Pros Radio Show, where our goal is to help save you time, money, and aggravation on your home maintenance and repair. This edition's entitled The Low Price Fallacy. And to help me explain, I'm here with my ever cheerful co-host and old buddy Johnny. Johnny, what has been going on this week, Johnny? We've got some stuff happening, baby.
Oh, well, yeah, just doing some work. I've been, man, I tell you what, it's really nonstop working on the house. I know I keep saying that, but man, it really is. And one of the things is I was working for one of my neighbors, and this kind of brought up the show topic was this low price fallacy.
Right.
And so I thought we'd kind of hit on that because I just got a call about it again the other day. And I'll describe it to you as that they wanted a screen door, and they bought a cheap, the cheapest wooden screen door. I'm sure everybody's seen those things with the, I think it's got one big opening on the top and then the three bars on the bottom.
On the bottom. Yep.
Yeah. So when I got that thing and I took it out, and now we're sitting here in a pretty humid climate. And I thought,
Atlanta's a humid climate? I can't believe it.
And I thought to myself,
you ought to be in the temperate rainforest of Augusta.
Yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, I bought some like 90-degree metal pieces that I put on the sides of in the door, because you could see where it was going to start to swell and open up and pull itself apart where the where it's put together. But these things, I'm telling you folks, if you ever buy something $80 like that, that's just the start of your day, okay? Because
it's just
the start, okay? It's not, you just don't take these things out of the package and, they're just, I don't know, they're white wood or pine or something, and they're just, man, they'll suck in the moisture like crazy right off the bat if they're not sealed. Anyways, I put it up, and of course, what happens about a month later, the door's about a 1/4 inch out now. And it's so much out that it had pulled its own screen out of the track.
Wow.
So
yeah,
the moral of the story here is that, when she called me back and I said, I'm happy to work on it, but she's like, well, I don't want to put any more money into it.
And you're going to then you have what you have.
Exactly.
Exactly. Right? You have what you have.
So
I mean, my story on that one goes, I have a client that, this is going to be an involved story.
Hold it. Let me put a pin in that right there for a second, because I'll just tell you what I told her, what I think a lot of folks out there that are listening to us, was that, I can paint this or seal it, and, it needs to be something. No, I'll do that. Okay. Well, she never did that.
Right.
And if it was me that was going to put this on, and some people like the wooden screen door is great, but I would have pulled the whole screen off and rescreened it myself so I could really paint both sides of this thing without the screen getting in the way.
Right.
And really sealed it all up and then rescreened it. But it's just one of those things where, in this case, you're like, oh man, it's not $80. That's just,
it's not $80.
It's the starter kit. It's you've got to think this thing through.
This is the think it through one.
Yes. Right. So it's $80, or do I buy, a metal door for $170? Pre-finished the whole bit,
right.
And then you're done. But just letting you folks know out there when you buy stuff like that. And now, Larry, I'll pull the pin out. You can go ahead about your story.
My story goes like this. Have a client that is, eggs were a little hard to get, going to get chickens. Okay, so we're getting chickens, we're going to get a chicken coop. Buys a chicken coop. Buys I don't remember what it was, but a very low price chicken coop offline. Put the thing together. Of course, it's made out of about the cheapest wood you can get, and particle board and all kinds of, not particle board, but um uh, the what's the paper stuff, Johnny? Hardboard, the
Yeah, the
hardboard, the
heartboard, yeah.
paper hardboard, right? Well, this thing's, of course, we don't keep chicken coops inside, right? They sit outside because you really don't want chickens inside. There's a bit of a smell issue and things like that.
Yeah, most people.
This chicken started coming apart like within a month. I mean, and when I mean coming apart, I mean falling apart. So now, I have to rebuild this chicken coop. So I go in and rebuild it once, right? Completely rebuild the whole thing, put some plywood in it, make it a little bit better, this and that. Now, literally, this is less than a year later, it's starting to rot, like rot away. And so now she wants a new chicken coop built. And now I'm in Alaska, so guess what? I can't get there to do this chicken coop, and so forth and so on. And it's just never ending. It's like this never ending money pit. And I'm like, keep thinking, those are the most expensive eggs I've ever seen in my life. And I love the chickens. They're great. They're named this and that, but yikes. Wow.
Yeah,
And that's happened. How many times has that happened, Johnny? I mean, we've seen
right,
that. We see that in everything, it seems like.
right, right. No, there's no doubt. There's no doubt about it. I mean, is that the end serve the means of of what you're doing here?
Yes, yes. We see it with cabinetry all the time. I'm just going to go down and buy a bathroom cabinet from Home Depot, and they buy basically an MDF or a paperboard cabinet, and then they wonder why it starts falling apart in no time. Or IKEA with furniture, same. And I'm not bagging on IKEA, but a lot of IKEA's furniture is throwaway
Well,
stuff. It's not that great,
I think you also look at where these things are being put, right? So if you're around,
Correct.
especially MDF stuff, being around water, oh boy,
Well,
not a good idea. So if you got some really cheap cabinets that are in the kitchen or by the sink,
yeah,
um,
if you're mopping a lot, not a good
yeah,
idea, right? A place where you mop. And the reason I mentioned, it's funny that you say that. Now we talk about trim, right? And I can't tell you how many new homes we've gone into, John, and expensive new homes. You go in the bathroom, and what's the trim made of?
MDF.
MDF. I'm like, what are you thinking about here, dude? Like, this is a wet environment. This paperboard, and then the client says, and I think you've had this happen to you too. The client says, well, it doesn't look good. It's all swelling and the paint's popping off. And it's like, well, because they use a product they shouldn't have used here. It's that
Yeah,
simple,
and
you
I
know?
think folks, when you do that, and I know that MDF stuff is, that stuff will be cheaper than another quality type of wood. My dog is bothering me. But I've gone into a really nice house like you were just mentioning, and
Yep.
I'll bet it's been it was a couple $1 million 6 years ago, but they put a dog bowl. They used to feed their dog next to
Yep.
the MDF,
Yep.
and the water
Water.
and the slop. It was just
Yep.
it puffed that stuff way out, and
Yep.
it just ruined the whole piece. And I'm like, oh man,
But it gets back to its low price,
that's
and the problem with trim is nobody knows. Like in general, people look at it, it's painted, and really, even for us, if you think about it, we deal with this stuff every day. I can't visually tell once a product's finished, like on MDF, that it's MDF. It's not until you nick it or something like that that you realize it's MDF. I mean, I guess there's probably a way to tell, but I can't really ever tell if it's painted properly, right? You
mhm.
can't tell that it's MDF. You don't know it's MDF until it's too late. My wife she had the cabinets replaced on the and the door fronts replaced on the cabinets at the house. And they were hard selling her on MDF. And they're saying, "Oh, it won't warp, it won't this, it won't that." And I'm like, "Buy the maple." I said, "Buy the
Yeah,
maple. Do yourself a favor."
yeah,
And so she listened to me,
yeah.
thank God, and bought the maple. And somebody else did it with the same company about the same time, and they've already got nicks and scratches and cuts that they can't fix because it's not made to be repaired. It's made to be replaced, and all of that. And I'm like, there's times and places to spend the extra money, and these are some of the things. when you're doing these, John, at least I always suggest look at mid-level stuff at the lowest you want to look at mid-level, unless you're doing a really short-term thing and you don't care, but always look at mid-level things, especially for expensive items like I said, cabinet fronts or a door. Johnny, question: doors, do they move?
Yeah. Yes.
Every day, right? Yeah. When you have a large item that moves every day, please spend the extra money. Do yourself a favor. It's a door. It moves. The hinges move. Here's one of my favorite pet peeves on doors, pre-finished doors or pre-hung doors, right, John? Do the screws ever pull out of the hinges?
Oh yeah.
Almost every time. And I don't, because they use softwood, B, they use short screws. I always take them off. I put one big one right into the stud, because I don't want it falling. I don't want it coming down.
Yeah, a lot of the nice doors though come with the long screws too.
They do.
So that's another example of be careful what you what you purchase and how often you're going to use it. And because I mean, really what you're talking about here is, so what if it's a little bit more money? I mean, how many times do you want to do this job?
Well, and that's the point, right? This show is about saving time, money, and aggravation, right? And it's again, we're not even factoring in the aggravation factor. We're just and there's aggravation on both sides. Do you enjoy going back to work on the screen door time after time after time?
I mean, I would, because you know what? You're like, I just did that. Right. I mean, I'm on 2 other projects. Right.
Yeah.
And that's not coming from me, that John the handyman. I'm talking about, if it was my stuff, I'm like, I got other things to do. I can't afford, it's just aggravating. I don't want the time and the money to keep going back and fixing the same stuff all the time. So
yeah. But even as a handyman, you're kind of like, we've got enough experience, right, that we can see this coming. You knew when you put that door up, it wasn't going to go well.
Well, I threw out my cautionary stuff, as I always do. That stuff like this needs to be safe. You can't put raw wood untreated in an environment like that. It's just not gonna. Yeah. The end of the story is
great if it was inside. If it was inside, you were screening off I don't know.
Well, conditioned airspace, maybe, but maybe, it's like, oh, man. Anyway. So I knew I was going to get the call, because I knew she was, they were gonna seal it up. But there you go, folks. Just be careful what you buy, and consider things downrange.
Yeah, consider things downrange. All right, Johnny, the spaceship's landed. Do we look at it, or do we take it apart?
Oh, baby, take it apart. Boy, there's there's some interesting things that, speaking of spaceships, that are happening these days.
Really?
Yeah. You got to check out the news. Well, I mean, it's all real stuff. I mean, it's not just spaceships, but what rumors are coming out of our Defense Department, stuff that we're putting together. Interesting stuff.
I gotta pay attention, because I'm a little disconnected up here in Alaska.
Yeah. So
we're getting there. All right, folks. Johnny, with that, folks.
Yeah, everybody stay safe. Everybody stay safe. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time on the Handyman Pros Radio Show.